Ilia Topuria says he's going to knock out Charles Oliveira in the first round. What do you think of that? Do you like that? Is that crazy? You guys love Charles Oliveira. I got to tell you, I'm on board. I love Charles Oliveira. I used to have fights. I used to have these knockdown dragouts on a text message with Gabriel Checo. And Gabriel speaks to me very respectfully, but he would not let up. He's like, you're not understanding this. You got to give this another look. I was giving Charles a hard time. I couldn't understand Charles. He's showing up sometimes with glasses on like he's Clark Kent. He's changing his hair. Sometimes he's blonde. Sometimes he's not. I'm talking from a marketing perspective. This guy's really good, but he's got to do the same thing over and over until he's even recognizable. Like, I remember these things and critiques that I would give on Charles. And just said, Gabriel, come in, this guy, he's the greatest. He's the greatest. He takes care of, he's from the favelas. He takes care of 8 different families. If it wasn't for Charles, they don't have food, and they don't have lights. Like, you're picking on the wrong guy. I saw Charles fight, and I was right up close. I was right up there. There's Dana, where you can see that, right? Dana's at that table. Oop, I'm one behind. So, I mean, I'm in really good seats, but it changed everything. Seeing Charles that close, by the way, it was a fight that Charles lost, but I came out of that and I got it. I totally got it. It was against Sarukian, and Charles was trying to win the whole time. Charles tried to strangle Sarukian. He was losing the fight. He never quit trying to win. He strangled Sarukian. He almost had it, and a scramble ensues. I mean, it was just this awesome battle. And I left there a Charles fan, but I also left there a Charles believer. And there is a very fair question when you have a guy that's climbed the mountain to the highest levels. Can he do it again? Can he do it again? Because does he want to do it again? Are you sure? Why? Why would he want to do it again? Seems like a very difficult thing to do. Well, I then saw Charles fight Michael Chandler at Madison Square Garden. That was Charles's last fight, and I didn't have the cool guy seat. But boy, did he look good. He was not supposed to do that to Michael Chandler. He was not supposed to win 5 rounds. He was not supposed to take Michael Chandler down and keep him there. He was not supposed to out-condition and outpay. He just wasn't supposed to do those things. So, he becomes a number 1 ranked guy. But he doesn't become the number 1 contender. And people always confuse that in our industry. Your rankings are one thing. Your number 1 contender is whoever within those rankings or outside of those rankings gets the bout agreement. Pantoja's previous fight, he fought with a Japanese fighter who had never fought in the UFC, and therefore he was not ranked within the UFC. So you could even go outside of the rankings. The rankings do not in any way represent a number 1 contender. The number 1 contender is the guy who's next for the champion, which is signified through a legal agreement known as a bout agreement. And I'll just tell you that because Sarukian had it. So you get your number 1 ranked guy and your number 1 contender. Sarukian situation plays out. Islam leaves the division. Charles and Ilia is the obvious fight to make. And Charles really is the first one to say yeah. He really was. Ilia moved up, this is prior to Islam leaving, and Ilia wants to fight for a world championship. And Charles says, no, you can wait. After I fight Islam for the world championship, you may then come in. I will defend against you, or you can do your piece with Islam, but I am next, and the rankings support it. And Ilia is saying, hey, young man, I appreciate your ranking. I'm a world champion, not to mention I'm undefeated. I don't stand down to you. I mean, it turns into this great back and forth. It turns to the best trash talk is when they can both tell the truth. And Charles Oliveira is saying, I climbed this mountain. I went through everybody. I deserve this. And the rankings reflect that. Is 100% true. So now we've got to take this number 1 ranking. We got to take that argument and we got to decide what's bigger. Being ranked number 1 or being undefeated. And you can't just do world champion. You can't, because Charles is a world champion. So we got to scratch them, whether it's former or present. They're both former world champions. So you got to throw world champion out. And now you got to just look at number one contender versus undefeated. What do? Who should get the nod? F it. Put them in there together. I love it. I absolutely love it, but Ilia Topuria is never short on confidence. Ilia Topuria comes on, I'm going to knock this guy out. Yeah, I get it. 11 guys are fighting this weekend. You'll probably find 9 of them that have made the same claim within their fight. It's something you just say. All right. Well, unless you're Ilia Topuria and you've been knocking everybody out, if you're Ilia Topuria and you knocked out the reigning BMF champion, who never even been knocked down, Max Holloway, if you're Ilia Topuria and you knocked out Volkanovski, who was ranked number 1 pound for pound in our entire industry, then it's a little bit different when you say, I'm going to knock him out. What do you guys think about it? And there's such an interesting thing in our sport, and I see it and I feel it too. It's a phenomenon. You can't quite place it, and if you do, you don't quite know what to make of it. I find cutting weight a weakness. I believe that. I believe that because I have never met the man who cut weight to get a harder fight. I grew up in a life. I was at a weigh-in every single Saturday since I was 9 years old. And from that life known as wrestling to this life known as MMA, where the weigh-ins are much more infrequent, but I never met a man that cut weight to get to somebody. I only know men that cut weight to get away from somebody. And so I see it as a weakness. And I remember the first time I did it myself, and I remember what my father said to me. He called me a chicken, S-H-I. He let me cut the weight. He stood there with me, supported me, let me get the weight off. And when I weighed in, he said, that was a chicken, you-know-what move. And he said, because I know why you did it. You did it so you didn't have to be in the bracket with Isaac. And he's right. That's exactly why I did it. I didn't want to be in the bracket with Isaac. But it changed me in that moment. So while I don't like it, while I see it as a weakness, it's a very interesting spot. Ilia Topuria, who has no known weaknesses, he's never shown us a hole. Let us know that the pains and discomforts of making 145 is why he's no longer making 145. And it just created like this weird thing. Okay, wait a minute. So that's his weakness. His weakness is cutting weight. His weakness is the suffering that goes along. He said it was like living in the desert and that he would rather live on the beach. So the man does have a breaking point. We found his breaking point. Even Superman had a kryptonite. What is it? Did Ilia just show us what it is? And there is a little bit of me that feels like that, even though the hypocrisy within me would know no bounds to believe that, because I believe cutting weight is the weakness. So when a guy stops cutting weight, he's therefore solved the problem of his weakness, except in this case, Ilia said it made for a nicer life as opposed to the more torturous life. It's just an interesting phenomenon. It really is. If a guy's got a kryptonite, whatever it is, can you expose it? If you're going in there and you're fighting a guy that's completely undefeated, it's a very intimidating thing. If nobody else could figure out how to beat this guy, why can I? What do I have that all them other boys didn't have? What has this guy ever done that I've ever seen or that I've heard of? And maybe it's a reputation or a rumor that slips through the locker rooms. What has he done that breaks him? And Ilia, in some ways, has told us. In some ways, he has. That scale and that discomfort. And I'm just sharing for you that I'm surprised within myself to see that as, okay, we found Ilia's weakness. When generally speaking, I like a guy that doesn't cut weight. He goes up, he fights the bigger guy. Spot the other guy some pounds if you have to. Just don't cut weight, because nobody cuts weight to get away from somebody. Or nobody cuts weight except for to get away from somebody. It's just interesting. I'm just wondering if you feel it. Do you feel it too? Do you feel like Ilia, who openly told us it's not because I wasn't out of opponents, it's not because I believed I cleaned out the division, it's not because I had a goal to be champ, it's purely because I don't want the suffering that goes with making 145. Do you see it as a weakness? Or do you see it as a strength? Because depending on whether you see all that as a weakness or a strength will depend how you react to the statement Ilia made, which is, I'm going to knock out Charles Oliveira.